horse drifted alarmingly in the betting was, Felsted in the morning continued to drift. It was late on the exchanges to lose. It was something you'd see in a Dick Francis novel, Charles Burns.
The ground is soft. It's
heavy.
It's soft on times.
It's heavy.
Okay.
Good afternoon. Yes, it is that time again, or good evening, whatever time you're listening, or even good morning if you're doing this on the drive to work. And it is, of course, the Barter's Inquiry Sunday sermon that you love to listen to every week because of all our rubbish that we spout, and we've got plenty more rubbish for you this week. We won't let you down on that front. And joining me, as always, are my two partners in crime, Chris and Mr. John Leng. Hello, chaps.
Hello.
Hello.
So without further ado, let's get on with it because we've got plenty of questions. And by the way, full marks this week. You've upped your game on your racing questions rather than Jaffa cakes, fig rolls, and Mars bars and the like. I like the sort of switch back to racing for a bit before we talk about pink custard. But anyway, it's talking about pink custard. It was custard at Air the Ground anyway over the weekend, John. And we saw yet another cup meeting, Gold Cup meeting, that was riddled by a track bias.
Yeah, well, it's just normal for the part of the course now, isn't it? You wait for these meetings to start, wait to observe the bias, and then bet accordingly. There's not a lot else you can do, really, is there?
No, let's come on to Saturday. And only thing I will say about the Air Gold Cup meeting, and I know Jeff Lynch said he was very uninspired by the Air Gold Cup meeting this year, and I think that goes for a lot of the flat this year, to be honest. What I will say is, what a fantastic pair of cups they've got.
Excuse me?
The Silver Cup and the Gold Cup, have you seen them? Like, obviously won by Cunningham.
I've seen the lad there posing with them, and
Yeah.
they were a healthy-looking pair, weren't they?
Fantastic pair of cups, then. But, we talk about trophies in racing. Like, to win a nice race for an owner, like, is special even before the prize money. But at the same time, it must be good to actually win a proper trophy. And they are proper trophies, aren't they, really?
It's always nice to get a nice ashtray at Wolverhampton or something.
Something from Timpson's at the front, those plastic ones you get in Timpson's shoe repairers.
Superb.
Let's get at racing bit. And there's one particular talking point I want to get to on Saturday, Doonside Cup. And it looked like they were going a decent pace to me on the visuals. And Al Merrick came through very impressively in a year full of shit 3-year-olds. This horse doesn't carry an entry for Champions Day. If it's come out of the race okay, do you supplement for it over 12?
Well, I think the two horses at the minute that I'd love to see turn up on Champions Day, neither of them are actually in the race. And that's that one and Bay City Roller.
Yeah. I've not seen any quotes from Balding. I don't know if you watched anything Saturday with regard to why it's been off all summer, other than
I haven't heard nothing.
Hard race, as we knew. We even discussed it on the pod, didn't we? Said how hard the race was in the field and with King of Cities. That form's looking pretty solid as well to boot. And because this horse only had 4 starts, he's an absolute tractor. He just absolutely ploughs through mud. So this is his time of year. I hope he comes out of this well because I would hold him in high esteem against any 3-year-old in the mud this back end. All these ones that have had the busy campaigns throughout the year as well. This horse is coming into the autumn fresh, and I'd like to see this horse get an entry somewhere to back this up because I think he's a class act.
The worry with me, given the trainer's general approach, that he'll go for something like the Cumberland Lodge rather than the big prize.
That's actually a fair shout. Group 3, isn't it, that Cumberland?
Yeah.
Maybe he's had a pretty bad issue this summer, and that's why he's been off all year, because I'm sure that wouldn't have been the plan to keep him off till September after winning in April. So it'd be nice to know why he was off. Usually for that amount of time, it's probably muscular, I would have thought. Yeah, that. He's definitely back, and I would put him in the 115 camp on that. And I don't think many 3-year-olds are running to 115, John, at the moment.
I think 115 might just about bag it, to be honest.
Al Merrick, one to look forward to going forwards. The Cup races, John. Now, I'm going to big you up here. Yeah, you've been very quiet on this one. You said to me, I got a text message from John saying, 225 Silver Cup, 335 Air Gold Cup. What horses have won 2 or more races over 7 furlongs? Can you run the stats for me? So I did. It didn't produce the winner of the Silver Cup, sadly, but what it did do, the only 2 that qualified for the Air Gold Cup finished first and second, John.
Yes.
Run Boy Run and Desert Falcon. You're not daft. Any flies on you Saturday, they were paying rent. Tell me you've done some good things in that race.
Yes.
Good. I'm glad it's paid off.
At risk of a Chris Pearl special, yes, it was quite rewarding, actually, especially given the fact that I had a bit of a hankering for Run by Run anywhere, so I didn't take a lot of convincing with that part of the bet.
The only 2 horses in the Air Gold Cup to win over 7 furlongs on 2 or more occasions were those 2 horses. And of course, John shrewdly asked the stat man, me, and it came back, produced that kind of result. Well, sorry, Chris Pull, I know this is shit, but we've got to get it in. It's maybe something to look for next year, similar ground.
Yes, don't forget, folks.
There you go. Tipping itself there from John, first and second Air Gold Cup.
If only we'd done the preview show.
I was gutted in the actual Silver Cup because I was on the second Sondad. You'd have been delighted Sondad didn't make the old winner's enclosure there. And obviously Richard Spencer doing the double. Yeah, I thought Sondad, if we'd have done a tipping podcast for air, he'd have been in my 3. Another second. More seconds than Oliver Twist, John. I've no doubt you took a bit of glee from seeing that Easterby Apes weren't winning the silver.
Well, as long as we've had an ace holiday up on the West Coast, that's all that matters, really, doesn't it? It's all about making memories.
And of course, Joe Mason goes swimming in the sea, John, when she's up there.
Yeah, it looks like a nice time, didn't it?
There's no way he gave me in water at that temperature at this time of year. But anyway, some racing questions, obviously on the weekend, so we're on topic. Scott's been on, and he said, what do you make of Night Patrol winning yesterday? 125 to 1 at Newbury. 310 on the machine it was as well, Scott. Trained by Hannon and part owned by a man who likes a bet in Mert Khan. 2 runs in juvenile company, finishing ahead of only 2 horses. Comes out and sticks it up to a 650,000 horse to the sandals and a well-bet fav. No wonder the game's a turn-off to many presently. Scott, yes, I'm sorry. I had a particularly bad week last week, and I think I stiffened everyone by having a very, very good bet on the Rooney horse, the Paul and Claire Rooney's. I forget the name. Stick it up your guns or something. Of course, it was touched off by one horse that you think just cannot win under any circumstances. You know, when the game's against you, that is what exactly happens. It just does. You can't write it at times. On a bad week, that sort of like really capped it off.
Can't ruin the horse's career, though, hasn't it, winning that?
You see, Mert Khan, like for years, this is a chap that's a few quid on, and even if you can't get much on these days.
What mark was he heading for, though, there? I mean,
well,
prior to that race, we're looking about 47, weren't we?
He's going to end up probably 85. Whether that helps him with a sale price, I don't know. If he's buying and selling, I don't know. I don't know what his angle was. But Mert, man, come on. You've absolutely stuffed it up, everybody there. Everyone was on the jolly. So that would ruin the old Saturday. I'm going to ask John first his view on this, because I want to know like his view before mine. Is Pat Cosgrave to blame for Jim Boyle's horse getting beat on Saturday? This is the one that ran at Newbury, John, if you remember.
No, he's not to blame. He's still very raw, that horse. Considering it was front that ran all the way into what I think was a headwind.
Yeah.
He's still on the wake side. He's got a lot of developing to do. It wasn't a surprise that he started hanging, although he got tired. I think Cosgrave did the right thing, just letting him go. If he'd had a scrap with him, I think he'd have probably found less. If there's anybody with any regrets, it might have been Jim Boyle. He didn't go there off 2 runs rather than just the 1 run. It was maybe just a little bit on the inexperienced side for the race.
Still pleased for a trainer like Jim Boyle. Obviously noticing after debut, Pamela Wilson, Roland Stambridge and partners have sold to Mrs. Doreen Tabor, or certainly part of the horse to the Tabors. I'm really pleased that a trainer that, I don't know him personally that well, we have spoken, but to me, someone of that ilk that doesn't get this standard of horse flesh very often. I said it about Declan Carroll recently, and it's nice to see 2 trainers, Declan Carroll, Jim Boyle, with proper 2-year-old, and probably, like what you said there on paddock, going to be a decent 3-year-old.
You'd hope so, wouldn't you? I mean, horse has every chance of developing over the winter, and making up into a Guinness candidate for sure.
I'm just pleased for all. I'm pleased that it's back the debut up as well for Boyle and co, because it's one of them. You see an impressive maiden winner. Sometimes it's a flash in the pan and they just regress. But so I'm really pleased that it did run as good as that anyway. But Seth, it's a fair point. I can understand people that might want to blame Pat Cosgrave for the ride. I kind of sympathise with that view. Possibly with hindsight, if you just wait that little bit longer, could it have been different? I don't know. But it's one of them that, yeah, you feel a bit sick because you're well clear of the third. So I know how it is if you've had a bet on it. Spencer, the Spencer ride on Baylor Bay in the 205 at Newbury from Casanu 54. Your take, chaps. I was sick. Again, this was my Saturday. So I had a Dutch in the race. I backed Majestic Warrior and Baylor Bay. I don't understand what Spencer does at times because whilst he's great on old up run a lot of the time, he likes to switch and move about a lot. I don't know if you watch him, John. He's changing his path all the time. So if he'd have stayed where he was from the start and never moved, instead of moving to the centre behind the main group, if he'd just stayed with cover but on that side of the track, I don't think there'd have been any problem about him winning. He would have gone very close to winning because obviously Castle Cove was hanging all over him, and Baylor Bay, had he got that gap initially, would have possibly won. It would have been tight between that and Liber Power, but he's soul destroying for me. Second and third, John, again in a Dutch. Horrible.
I think he just took so long making his round up to come right up the stand rails. Ample opportunity earlier in the straight to make that rail his own. Chose not to do so, reined it back and went in behind Castle Cove again. I think that was a crucial move of the race. If he'd bagged the rail then, got himself upside Castle Cove, I think he'd have won for sure.
Right, further racing questions. Benjamin's been on Any Chance on the Sermon. The first at Newton Abbott gets a mention. BHA are a laughing stock. Owners could have had it right off if they wanted. Now, this refers to a race that took place on, I believe, Friday. It was initially a 3-runner novice chase. However, Big Dan Skelton pulled out Catch Him Derry, and it ended up with 2 runners in the race, both owned by the same owner. They're basically saying that's a farce. Art of Diplomacy won the race at 4-11. Into the Air was second in the race. Might have been Chris here on this as well. Chris, do you have any problem with the running of that race? Personally, me as an owner, I'm looking at the first and second, right? The winner gets 8,169. The second gets 3,763. As an owner, we're rubbing our hands. Say if we've got syndicate and we're collecting, what we're doing, 11,900 quid. So as long as we jump round.
No problem with that at all. No issue with that particularly.
I know where he's coming from in terms
Get it, but look, reality is that if you're an owner, you're going to be taking that, aren't you? So I wouldn't have a problem with that at all.
Yeah.
But you can't get fuck all on anyway. So you maybe 10, 20 years ago you might have contemplated it, but now you just take the prize money, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Graham Bradley would have been rubbing his
Be on the
hands
phone to the milkman. What we doing today, Brian? Yeah. Fucking now.
When he just finished his hands, he was rubbing.
Yeah, indeed.
Do you have a problem if you have a 2-runner race, same owners?
You'd hope the owner's going to back the winner,
exactly.
I think that's what Benjamin's sort of hinting at.
You could do, but look, I mean, it's one of those things, isn't it?
The bookies are going to assume you're acting on inside information, privileged insider information.
Quite. Yeah.
Probably shut you down.
I'll be honest, this is my own personal opinion. If I was a bookmaker or an on-course bookmaker, I wouldn't take bets on that particular race. Because you feel a bit vulnerable as a bookmaker if someone wants an 11,000 to win 4 Diplomacy from nowhere. It's like, who are you? You know, I'm not seeing you before. 11,000 to win 4. So.
Yeah, £11 to win 4. Yeah,
you know, right? Yeah. You get £11 to win 4 for have a bit of fun. And I'd wipe my board in the chalk days. Wipe the chalk and then say, I'm going for a coffee or a gin and tonic. I'll see you next race. You've got to have some sympathy for the books as well on that one. Not saying that the owners have done anything wrong at all. It's just that.
But it's such a all right. I mean, it's a Mickey Mouse race at Newton Abbott, and who's watching that? No one. So, and you can't get on. So, I can see where he's coming from, but I just I won't be bothered about it.
Coming up to more racing questions before we move subjects and topics. WV Horses and Cricket's been on. It's currently in the USA at the moment. He said, what grade would the Barsters, the flat racing season so far? He'd give it a D, and that's been generous. John, you seem less excited about this season than I have known you, and I've known you quite a while now. It's like, yeah, you seem unexcited.
I think the day that the listeners given it was more than generous, to be honest.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. I've hardly seen it, just from my perspective, I've hardly seen a 2-year-old that I like.
Yep.
I think the classic generation have been the most soulless bunch of fuckers you'd ever see.
Soulless.
Well, yeah, we're a Joe Derby winner there, and he might as well have been cut out of cardboard for all the pizzazzes.
Yeah.
You could never take to the horse, and that's not its fault. But there's been nothing to hook you into the game this year. There's nobody to root for somehow.
The only one I wanted to root for was Field of Gold, because that looked like his daddy, Kingman, in a way. Not on looks, but obviously grey. But in terms of like turn a foot, thinking, is this another Kingman horse? But I'm not so sure. I know he was lame at Goodwood and so on, but I don't know. The jury's out on that one now. So it is one of them sort of seasons. I suppose we can't have like stars every season, but this is the thing with bloodstock industry. The way things are going, are things really going to get any better? Racing badly needs a star, doesn't it? It needs a couple of stars.
The jury's been out that much this season. I mean, there's hardly been any point having a fucking jury.
Couldn't put that any better. Sorry to be grim on that topic, but yeah, you've got to be honest here, haven't you? Katie and Dub's been on. Up until 4 years ago, Seb Spencer was a pretty shit trader. What's changed? Crystal Sam bought and paid for now. I'm decent mates with Seb. The thing that's boosted him is the actual transition of the yard. He's backed by, I think, is Eco Power, some energy. They've invested a lot of money into the facilities. The yard that Seb now trains from. Got his own weather gallops, great facilities, really modern new boxes. And to be fair to him now, he's proving with the ammo he's got, he can do a job. And
well, hang on a minute. This is news to us, John, isn't it? Where's all the info then with your great mates with a man who's now on the we've heard fuck all, nothing, nada, not a fucking dicky bird. Well, why not?
No. I'll tell you why, it's pretty pointless.
Let's hear you worm your way out of this one. Go on. We're interested.
Well, what it is I think people that do put the money in the place, they get a few quid on somehow or somewhere.
Yes.
I don't get told anything.
Oh, clearly. Fucking some mate he is to you. Fucking Seb Spencer.
Yeah, I get nothing.
In the sea, man. I'll tell you.
Yeah. He probably did. Do you remember the scene from Wall Street when Bud Fox goes round to his lawyer friend and he tries to convince him to give him some info?
Yeah.
And he said, "What's in it for moi?" He bottles out in the end and he obviously doesn't tell Bud Fox anything.
The warm glow of helping out a dear friend. That should be enough for Seb.
Yeah. So Seb, if you're listening, there you go. You've got my number. You know what to do. Get my card marked. So there you go. So Katie and Dub, that is literally what's happened to Seb Spencer. Things have improved for him. And I can tell you now, he took over from his granddad, Neville Bycroft, and facilities back in the day were not what they are now. And now he's been upgraded. So you can understand why the winners are starting to probably flow with, let's say, some moderate to decent horse flesh is probably fair.
Well, you can guarantee they'll be giving you a ring and letting you know when they're
that's nice. Anyway. Yeah, we had it spark off. Yeah, hope you were on. Yeah.
We've already done it on this show with Air Gold Cup, so like they've afterburdened a fucking Air Gold Cup winner. This podcast gets terrible. Ice Cold Q, big cuddly grinning Dan Skelton and the George Gently case. Who can forget that?
I've seen a photo of him this morning. He looked like fucking Ward. Bingo off the banana split.
What we say now that Wesley's not going to bring any more horses over?
I think we can christen Big Daft Dan Bingo, I think.
Bingo. A. Holt, the owner, releases jaw-dropping information on X recently. I ain't seen that. I'm living in a bubble at the minute. A far bigger outrage than the Hillsin case, surely, but a fraction on the coverage by the general media.
Do you think this bubble's anything to do with where the Seb Spencer emails aren't getting through?
Ice Cold Cube, thank you for that. I have not seen that. Have any of you two seen it?
No, don't know what he's on about. Come on, spill. Ice Cube, tell us what you're on about.
Yeah, retweet us a post you've seen or whatever. I've not seen this.
Nope.
I feel like I should have done, and I'm failing lately. I really apologise. The podcast that's supposed to be on the pulse of racing,
Yes,
is not on the pulse of racing at
No.
all.
That's assuming racing's got a pulse.
Well, yes, there is that.
The doctor could be standing over it, giving it a concerned look now, couldn't it?
Ice Cold Cube, I'll thank you again for that. But the point is, you're right about the media. The media is very selective at what it covers. It won't bully big corp. It won't bully big owners. It won't bully big trainers. It likes to bully the little people. And that's how racing is. If you're a little person in racing that's making your way and trying to make your way, you will get bullied by the racing media. And that's a sad fact of life. They love a story, do ITV. But at the same time, certain things, it's like, oh, no, we're not going there. There you go. That's, you can't have it all ways, can you? But I mean, it goes on about the Hillsin case, obviously, in terms of the coverage that got with poor young Dylan Kitts. And I said poor young Dylan Kitts because can you imagine that lad? He's got up that morning. Chris will say, fuck off. He's had his grand order for a Betfair lay. How do we know he's just not turned up to the races and can't be in the 4 here? Or don't go back to your car.
Yes. Yes.
You can imagine the kind of conversations that maybe do go off. I mean, if it was me, I'd just refuse to ride the horse. I don't know about you, Chris. If you were Dylan Kitts, if an owner said to you, according to what Dylan Kitts said, that they said, you've got to jump off it if you have to. You've got to break your neck if you have to. Just don't, whatever. What would you do?
Well, I mean, listen, it depends, doesn't it? I mean, I suppose if you're Dylan Kitts and you have serious aspirations of making a career in racing, you'd tell him to go and get fucked, wouldn't you? That's what you do. I mean, these aren't big owners, are they? These aren't people think, Christ, better do what they tell me because they got millions of horses. This is a Mickey Mouse outfit. You say, go and fuck yourself. That's what you would do, wouldn't you? If you wanted a long-term career in racing. If you're in it for the short term and you think, well, look, I'm going to do something else in my life, you'd play along, wouldn't you? You'd say, well, what can you get out of it for me?
Yeah, if it was me, like you say, and you're wanting an actual career, I would claim I was ill.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
In fact, if they came up to me in paddock and said that, I would then turn round to the trainer and say, I feel really badly. We need a replacement jockey.
Yeah,
ASAP.
I feel ill. I mean, or you could do what Pat Edry did. I used to have a friend of mine who used to own horses. I forget with who, and had Edry, and he says, "Oh yeah, blah blah blah. We don't want this in the first 10, Pat." And Edry said, I'm sorry. He said, you got the wrong fella. He says, that's not our role. And he said, well, there's $1,000 in it for you. And Edry, without missing a beat, said, where would you like it to finish?
Yeah, well, that's it. It's always a sweetener.
Where would you like it? But listen, you're a young man. You want a career in racing. You tell him to get fucked. If you think, well, actually, I don't see a long-term career here. I'm probably going to do something else in my life next year. Then, well, you try and get what you can out of it. But the sensible play is just say, I don't feel very good. Because all of that, unless you're very, very, very good at it, that always ends in tears, doesn't it?
It does indeed. Right, let's come to some topics that John raised in his questions, because John does quite well sometimes with his questions. I thought he did really well this week, John. I thought you did. I didn't pick up on this. Something else I haven't picked up. I'm not picking up on nothing at the moment. This is Australian racing, John. And when you sent the questions in to me, I sort of had a look and thought, what's this all about? I've not heard this. Kind of weird. Peta Murphy versus Barni Evans. She was outstanding against Barni. I felt that Barni Evans was representing Sporting Bet, an Australian bookmaking firm coincidentally owned by Flutter. Barni Evans was giving all the corporate speak about we reserve the right to not take bets if the punter, and I'll quote, is using information not in the public domain, if we believe. All the words, if we believe. Well, they could believe anything. They could believe that fucking Bod were lesing off with Ant Fleur.
He was. With Alberto Frog was hiding in the wardrobe, pulling his pudding.
Yeah, with his milkshake.
Yeah, fucking. Yeah. PC Copper. Yeah. Farmer Barley Mug. Fucking brilliant, that was. Yeah.
Yeah. This Peta Murphy was absolutely outstanding. If anyone wants a link to the interview, just get in touch if you're struggling to find it. But I'm sure if you type in Peta Murphy, Barni Evans, I think you will find it, as I did. John, weren't it corporate waffle speak from Barni Evans?
He was almost at the point of denying reality, wasn't he?
Yeah.
An innocent bystander watching that would have you believe that the common theory is that it's absolutely impossible to win at this game without privileged insider information.
Yeah.
Because in Barney's world, it simply doesn't occur that anybody's any good at actually betting.
She was brilliant. She kept saying to him, "You're not answering my question properly. You're just going on about if we believe you have privileged info, we reserve the right not to service your account." Because obviously the laws are different in Australia. They have to do what you call a minimum bet liability, which is not here in this country, which it should be. That's the reason for the argument that obviously a Flutter-owned company, again, misbehaving, not playing ball because they're hiding behind the privileged insider information rubbish, which is they can't prove. If you're beating them, is what he's saying, they ain't gonna take a bet. But yet she said, my colleagues and I can see you are not answering the questions properly. If only we had people like that here, John.
We do, but the minute we find one, they get voted out of Parliament, and anti-Semitism laws or something else that cobbled together as a trumped-up charge. Any sign of anybody acting in the public's interest now, and they find a way to get them out of Parliament straight away. The standard that's in there now is just absolutely shocking. I mean, there's nobody batting for the little bloke at all. Nobody.
Well, first thing is, I don't understand why Big Corp are defended on Twitter to the extent they are sometimes.
Money. It's always money.
This brings it out. Veach was on Nick Luck this morning. What he said, in a nutshell, without saying it, because he said there's a time and a place for it. Reading between the lines, racing itself, the racing media, and people within racing, the personalities within racing, have aided and abetted Big Corp to where they where they are.
That's a massively uncontroversial statement. You look at how many of the racing's great and good in the media have relationships, financial relationships with bookmakers. I mean, how can you expect? I don't blame them. It's not criticism of them as human beings, but collectively, how can they be objective? They can't be. You're being paid to write a blog or to provide tips or previews by a bookmaker. You're hardly gonna, to bite the hand that feeds you, are you? I get it, but it's a really, really, really bad look. And this kind of attitude or this kind of approach has brought us to where we are, where the media is incapable of criticising Big Corp. They can't.
I've got to hand it to Big Corp in a way because they have been extremely clever. Managed to bed the racing product right in with slot machines, and that's what they've used sports betting, horse racing, as the cover for the Antichrist and the downfall of gambling, so they can line their own pockets. They've used sports betting racing as a shield for more harmful products, which they know are harmful and will do a lot of damage. Unfortunately, and it's supported by media people.
Useful idiots. That's what it is, isn't it?
I probably shouldn't single her out because honestly, I do rate her as a broadcaster, but like Megan Nichols is for me is improving all the time, and I'm not singling her out. But if you sign up with BetMGM, come on, man, you're a wealthy person, you're a wealthy family. It's not like you need a few quid, is it? Why have you done that to Rick?
You can never have enough. That's human beings, isn't it? Someone's going to give you X grand or whatever to do a few hours work a month. They're going to take it, aren't they? They never have enough.
Yeah,
they're never going to have enough.
It's just that's the reason I picked her because obviously, like, she's from a wealthy background, a wealthy family that look after her. She's building a good career for herself, and fair play for that. I know we say nepotism, but some of it is actually on merit.
Yes, of course.
I actually do rate her, and that's being truthful. But my point is, why do you need that extra few quid off BetMGM? Fuck off. You don't need... You're working for ITV on a good salary. You're doing bloodstock.
Yeah. You have a nice life. Yeah, nice upbringing, blah, blah, blah.
Why align yourself with the vermin that have destroyed this game? And I'm quite happy to destroy this game.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. The thing about money, bud, I keep saying every week, it makes you do things you don't want to.
It is. So Big Corp has been really clever there. Going on to another subject that's not been mentioned, AK Bets recently has announced that he's not taking any horse racing bets up until, I think it's midday, is it?
Midday, I think, yeah. It's SP only in the morning, isn't it, or something?
Isn't that at certain tracks?
No, unilateral.
He's unilateral. Mike Bet stopped at ARC because of the costs, the product.
Right.
They were complaining about the prices they were being charged, which I get. The point I'd make to AK, if he still listens, I don't know if he does, is that you run a racing podcast, fella, and talking racing and stuff like that. It's not really a massively great look if you're not going to take racing bets off punters before they go to work in the morning. Am I right here, chap?
Yeah, I mean, but he runs. I mean, he said, I think in his tweet that he's responding, operating in the best interests of his business, the economics. But yeah, you're right. It doesn't a great look, but I don't suppose he cares particularly. But yeah, I agree with you.
Not really, but the point is, if you're using racing as a vehicle to promote traffic to your site,
well, they're all going to do that, though, aren't they? I mean, James Knight tweeted that time, didn't he, on Twitter, that racing's a good vehicle to steer people towards more profitable products.
Yeah.
But again, racing just gets used. We care about racing. These people
No, they don't.
because it's just.
Bulkies are going to say, and have said since this tax situation arose, that racing, divorcing itself from the relationship with it's been an abusive relationship. And if racing wants to get out of an abusive relationship, good for racing out there.
Racing has got to endure some pain going forwards. It has to.
Well, this is it. Most housewives, when they leave abusive relationships, they have to endure a period while they're getting themselves sorted out, and they might even have to go and live in a bedsit for a while. But it's not forever, is it? And they are getting away from a situation where they're getting a right hander every weekend.
Yeah, and to use the DV analogy, as John has just said, the domestic violence, the most dangerous period for any person leaving an abusive relationship is when they tell the partner that I'm off. I'm gonna leave. Yeah, and that's where the risk is. But if you can weather that storm, as John says, for the sort of year or whatever, that's it. But when you say you're going to sever ties, that's when you're at greatest risk.
This brings back the racing tax argument. So Dave's been on, he says the Hong Kong Jockey Club thought another betting tax would have been a good idea, but they were wrong. Right, the difference is here, Dave, you're comparing a jurisdiction here that promotes betting. They fucking love it. They love this game.
Cool, not many. Yeah.
Right, that's the difference. Right, we're not dealing with people that love this game politically in this landscape. Sadly, the country we live in right now, which is either UK or Ireland,
but they love it, and it's such part of the culture of the Far East gambling that no one would dare, no politician would dare to say, "Hey, we're going to curtail your ability to have a bet." There'd be riots.
I know there's problems going forward, whatever happens, but when you actually sort of know that the government's already made its mind, this government will tax anything, literally anything.
Air. They're going to tax air, I bet, will be the next thing.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised anything they do. And secondly, it's a very sensible move to distance racing from online casinos and slots for that very reason, because that's the one. If racing can get a better deal from the government than online slots, it's a result. Despite books saying it isn't a result, well, so what is a result then? Because I'll tell you now, I predict, I'm not sure I'm going to be right here, but my prediction is they're going to tax online slots and they're going to up it from 21% to 50%. Is that what we want for racing? No. That's why they wanted to harmonise it, because they wanted less damage. Honestly, Big Corp are so disingenuous. They've been disingenuous throughout, rinsing people. Honestly, bookmakers are not your friend. They are not your friend right now. On-course ones, fair enough, but online bookmakers are not your friend. Do not side with these people. They're only in it for one thing, and that's bottom line. Bottom line is everything. And they don't want to give government any more than they have to, and who would, right? But the point is, if you are causing harm to people that are up at 3 a.m. doing casino in the pocket and doing thousands of pounds in, I'm sorry, but that needs taxing. That's what it is. Chris, if land-based casinos pay 40%, why can't online pay at least the same?
There's no logical argument to suggest that they shouldn't. I mean, it's mad, isn't it?
Totally. It adds nothing. It adds nothing to any, apart from people's enjoyment. And I'm not saying people don't enjoy doing it, because obviously I'm not just talking about addiction. I'm talking about people actually enjoy playing the online slots. Personally, if it's me, I am low taxation. I am business growth. People should be free to do what they want with their money. We do not live in a country that offers that situation. That's not on the table. It's not offered. You go into Parliament asking for that. Good night. You have to manage a situation the best you can. And I believe that's what we've done as a podcast on this subject. So, but Dave, I take your points. We'd love to be King Kong. I'd love to be absolute King Kong, but It's just not going to happen. Poor action about the AK bets. Will other bookmakers follow? They may do. That's up to them. But I've always said anyway, Chris, John, if they're not willing to employ skilled odds compilers and maybe just price 6 to 8 races a day that they're confident on pricing, why are they pricing up every race and then moaning when they're fucking 40% out? Pointless.
Well, I don't think they're arrived at where they want to be just yet. I think they're all aiming now towards the Denise Coates business model with everybody losing 2 quid a day.
Yeah, it's bet
and
builders,
eventually, once the algorithms have sorted the weight from the chaff, I think we'll have arrived there, and they'll be quite happy with their profits. They'll be pretty much embedded into the business foundation, and racing will be able to do very little about it, only just chug along to get more worthless gross profits tax, which just isn't the answer.
Just coming back to racing before more questions, obviously I've had a few questions privately and on my own text from other people in the game that I know that have said about Dandana's ride at Ayr. Not sure if you got to watch it, John. Oisin Murphy's been on personally to reply to that question on the thread, and he says that by the sounds of it, he felt the horse was clearly empty some way out, so decided to look after it. Again, Chris will say I'm bought and paid for again. Actually agree with this synopsis, and that's going to be controversial. Though I understand again how it would look to a punter that's backed that horse because he did absolutely nothing on it, John.
Very much like a Lester Piggott scenario from the mid-70s, early 80s. Quite often when he felt one had no chance, he could be saying easy enough 2 furlongs out.
Yeah.
People in the stands, what the hell is he doing, And I think sometimes you just got to say, well, yeah, the jockey knows it's done its running and has no miles to give him. What is the fucking point knocking it about? The horse wasn't moving great on that surface at all, and you can say that.
Again, I get the messages I've had. I'll be honest, I didn't back it for the reasons Oisin stated. I didn't think it'd go on the ground. I know it sounds Chris Pooley again, but that was the reason for not betting it. But at the same time, if I had to bet it, I'd have probably hoped that there might have been a little bit more effort from the saddle. But as we know, at that level, when you're riding sort of listed group class horses, you probably think, well, there's another day in this, and if I bottom this now and finish 5th with an all-out ride, which he possibly could have done, with an all-out ride, bottom it, and then, like you say, horses finished. Look, fair play to Oisin for replying, sucking up to him there at all. But I genuinely did see it like that, because I thought there's no way you'd just turn up and just do that. He obviously felt it was empty. There's only him sat on it, but I can also see how it may have looked to certain people. Jeff Lynch again, he says, are some tips fraudulent towards gullible punters, giving racing a bad name? I've been a strong advocate of study. Some are putting up tips that anyone could guess, then claiming they've landed an each way gamble or something like that. You see it on Twitter all day long. It's one of them, really. I suppose if you do subscribe to tipsters, make sure that you do your due diligence and you understand who you're dealing with. There's no pot of gold in this game. There is no pot of gold. A certain amount of money to be made if you can get on these days, which is difficult and getting more difficult. It's one of those. You're not going to be able to just stop work or think I'm just going to have an holiday or a new car, back of somebody else's advice. It doesn't work like that. A steady process, and over time, the good ones make considerable amounts of money, like we do. No, I'm going to say, I know we had a bad week last week, and people say, oh, you fucking tips load of losers last week. Oh, well, yeah, people do. That's how it is. But over time, we'll beat the game, hands down, because they aren't good enough. In the morning, they aren't good enough overnight. So there you go. Join us and join the merry band of Barsters if you haven't already done so. Macadori, did you guys ever go at place pots? I would look to beat the Fav in every race if I fancied it. Place pots, it's one of them. It's if you've got an angle, John, in it. If you fancy a couple of Favs to bomb out, that's when to play a place pot, innit?
Yeah, I would have said so. I had a horrific experience at Redcar once. I put a place pot on because I felt there was some beatable Favs on the card. All 6 won.
Yeah.
And I didn't know the jackpot.
It's astonishing the amount of things we talk about in chats and things don't act upon. Actually happens. It's frustrating. It's weird. We'll spot potential bias or something, or we'll spot something and never act on it. But yeah, I would play play spots at any time I felt there could be a track bias, B, you fancy Favs getting dicked. If you fancy a Favs play spot, it's no good, is it? You're just wasting your time. You've got to do it, I think, strategically if playing play spots and multi kind of forecast, tricast bets, things like that. Get some value. King Kong jockeys, retirement fodder.
Yeah, Ollie's off to, like Frankie goes to Hollywood, Ollie's off to King Kong, isn't he? I remember when Dettori was going to go, and Luca Camani went absolutely ballistic with him because it was only near the start of his career, and he said nobody goes there unless they're going to line the pockets and wrap up. I just wondered if maybe Holly's plateaued out and she's going to wrap up.
I mean, don't forget, like, she's married to Tom.
Yeah.
They might be thinking
Yeah,
family.
and she's lost the big job.
So she's thinking, I've lost the job with Algar, whatever it is. Now it's a case of, right, let's toddle off to Hong Kong, earn a few quid, get a few quid in bank.
Yep, still good in Hong Kong, come back, make a little marquand, and
that's what I think.
It's like the football equivalent of sort of Saudi Arabia or the New York Cosmos, isn't it? That's the kind of, when they come to the end of their career, they go there.
You can't talk about Cosmos, you.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Charlotte, stunning pair of Cosmos. Yeah, tremendous. But I think that's the kind of the equivalent. It's sort of it's a kind of farewell tour, isn't it? That's Hong Kong, I think.
Kingscote and Pro Bear probably still are going to build a career out there, but I don't blame them for going in terms of monetary what they're doing. But it is what it is. It shows a sad state of affairs over here.
Watch out for the triads putting car bombs in your vehicle in the car park. Remember that Patrick Louis Bianco? Remember someone put a bomb in his car, didn't they, during some sort of race? Yeah, and he went, Mon Dieu, they put a bomb in my car. Yeah,
in his Renault Fuego.
Yeah. And his fucking Citroens with a great suspension. Yeah, mon Dieu, it is terrible.
Patrick Louis Bianco, has there ever been a frog who looked more like a frog than him?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, he was the archetypal French person, wasn't he? Mon Dieu, c'est magnifique, mais ce n'est pas la guerre. Hein? As you could see him just smoking a fag.
This is just fucking.
I always let an inch of rain out every podcast, just a little bit, just to keep them guessing. Let a little bit inch of rain out every podcast.
Irish impressive.
Yeah. You should hear his Idi Amin, like.
No, not that. What is this? You are terrible. Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Roddy Omelette. Yes. Have you ever received a round of applause in public? Interesting question. I mean,
it's a very good question. Yeah, loads of times for awards and things. Yeah, in anyone's professional career. Yeah, if you work in the corporate world. Yeah, several times.
Handwriting prize, 3 years on Rodney's at school.
There you go. There you are.
So, has anyone ever been booed in public?
Have you? Go on then.
Yeah, actually, I can remember it. Oh, this was terrible. You know, like back in the day where they used to treat kids badly when we were growing up. In other words, they didn't give a...
it's called the 1970s. Yeah, exactly.
So we played in a five-a-side tournament, and I were in net. Early days, I went as a goalkeeper. Size, I got tits and all.
Like a cat. You were like a cat.
Well, I got good reflexes, but I was big, so it helps, doesn't it?
Yeah.
At that age, we got to the final. And I let 2 through my legs, and we lost 2-1. And it's the only time I've known I basically got abused going off and booed.
It was like Alan Minter being thrown bottles when he fought Hagler. Was it like that? Where bottles of piss chucked at him? That's Hagler.
Imagine fighting Hagler. Like I was 11 years old. Hagler, like you said, when he fought Minter.
He shit himself though. He went, fuck that. I'm never coming back to Britain again. Hagler shit himself. So that must be pretty scary for Marvin Hagler to have lost his guts on that.
In boxing circles, they always used to scrap, didn't they? Like at most fights, crowd.
Oh yeah, they still do though, don't they? It's still punch ups. Like local boxing is always a fight. Better fights in the crowd than in the fucking ring.
Pincey's been on. I enjoy a good series, ideally 6 to 10 episodes. Recently, I've watched Our Friends in the North and Prospect.
Yeah.
Any recommendations? Doesn't matter how old it is. Chris, you'd be pretty good for this.
Well, I mean, do you know what? I'll throw you a curveball here. Not a TV one, but an audio series, right? So if you go onto the BBC Sounds app, there is a couple of series left of something called Ed Reardon's Week, and it's very, very funny. I discovered it about 5 or 6 years ago. Ed Reardon is a kind of bankrupt, curmudgeonly, failed writer. And it's very, very funny, very well written by a man called Christopher Douglas. There's 2 series still available on the Sounds app. Really funny. I would heartily recommend that.
What's it called again? Just
Ed Reardon's Week. It's on the Ed Reardon's Week. Really funny. Very, very. He's a sort of a right miserable old bastard, but very good, very sharp, and very well written.
That sounds like me. That sounds really good.
No, it is. It is. He sort of gets angry about rogue apostrophes in advertising copy, and he's always skint. And he likes a bet in it as well. He does like a bet. He's always moaning he's done his bollocks at Newton Abbott again. It's really good. Very funny.
There you go. Even racing coming into it. Love it. Love it. Just before I come to the last question, just like to say 2 things that have like sort of got under my wick this week a bit. Well, one's got under my wick and one like makes me laugh like a child. The one that's got under my wick, like earwigs. You've both seen earwigs.
Of course, right? Yes.
I sat on Pant the other day trying to work out the points. Let's think long and hard here, right? They must lead they do lead a shit life, don't they? They're in shit, aren't they? In drains.
Yes.
They crawl up your shower plug, don't they? Then they crawl in your bath and they spend about 3 days trying to climb out at bath. And then when they finally worked out they can't climb out at fucking bath because they keep slipping back down, they fuck off down plug hole. I mean, what is all that about?
Well, I don't know. Where do you live? The Belgian Congo? It's Yorkshire, man, not the Congo. Fucking hell. Earwigs in the bath? Good Lord.
Is that what you call them?
Well, I don't know. Not earwigs.
They've got like antlers on them.
Antlers? Fucking hell.
Antennas.
Some sort of science fiction nightmare.
Fucking hell, get one of them in here, yeah.
Good God. Yeah, exactly. We can't relate to any of this.
Just saying what's in me bath. They come up from the plug hole and they're trying to fucking climb out. Like,
oh my God.
Anyway,
go on.
Have to lay off the strong cheese after 6 p.m.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, lay off the LSD. I think.
Yeah. Second thing, I found a new word today, and only by accident as well.
It wasn't earwig by any chance, was it?
Yeah, I think it might well have been, yes. Earwig.
No.
Go on, what's the word? Come on, spit. What is it?
It's really good. It makes me laugh a lot. It's called, and it's just my childish ways, but
yes.
The word gunt.
Gunt. Yes,
What's a gunt?
Yes. Is it the sort of fleshy area above a woman's reproductive organs?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because
we worked that out. Yes, gut and cunt. Yes. Gut
I saw
and
a
cunt.
Gogglebox thread today, and I just started laughing out loud. And I've never heard of the word before, and I just thought it's just like a fat woman on this photo. And everyone was saying like things like impressive gunt. That's a massive gunt.
Yes.
Right. And I'm thinking, what's a fucking gunt? So I had to check it, and I just started belly laughing because it's the flabby bit between.
It's the flesh apron. I think is in more polite circles.
Yeah. Twitter was kind of savage, like, but still, I did have a lot of fun laughing at it. But I'm really childish, and I suppose it's the gunt above your cunt. Is that?
Yeah. Well, it's the portmanteau term, isn't it, for gut and cunt? I think is someone's cleverly joined them together and given you guns.
Yeah. Extremely childish.
Delightful, yes.
I am. Sorry about that.
I don't think you get any points on Countdown,
No, well, you might do, yeah.
Yeah, it's a word. It's actually in the dictionary. It's just slang. It's just
yes.
Slang
Urban Dictionary doesn't count. It's Oxford English.
Yes. OED only here. Yeah, Sophie
I apologise to you. 3% of listeners are ladies listen to this podcast. Find that deeply offensive. That have awfully impressive guns.
Now 1% of listeners, I think. After that, yeah.
Right. Finally, Bert Doncaster. He always degrades it.
Good.
As Chris regularly reminds us, you are actors playing the part of bar steward. Right? So we're actors. Which role would be your dream role, film or TV?
Crikey, that's quite good. Let's see. Dream role. Don't know really. I could see you, John, as sort of Wilfred Bramble in Steptoe and Son, the old boy, and I reckon that'd be good. I think you'd enjoy that because he's right miserable sod, wasn't he? He was good in that.
I'm happy all the time, mate.
Well, clearly, yeah, yes, quite. No, that's don't know really. What about you, Lee? You must have given us some thought.
It's usually towards my favourite films. I'm probably a bit too tall, but I've always fancied playing Gordon Gekko in Wall Street.
Yeah, that'd be good.
A thorough shit.
I'll see you more as like Boss Hogg. That'd be a good one, wouldn't it?
Yeah, Boss Hogg.
Yeah, right bastard he was, wasn't he? That white suit and the big cigar. Yeah, what a bastard.
Yeah. Any sort of major role, maybe Sheriff in Cannonball Run. We're always after Burt Reynolds in Cannonball Run.
How about the the floor in Daisy Duke's changing room? That'd be a good role, wouldn't it?
Oh God, Daisy Duke.
Yeah,
I mean, she was Jesus.
She was hot shit, wasn't she? God.
The old 14, 15.
Yeah. And the 50-year-olds as well. Yeah, fucking hell.
Oh yeah, and them. Yeah. I can remember even my dad and my granddad at the time. it came on.
Everyone went quiet.
I think it was the first time my granddad had seen it, and like Daisy Duke got out at like General Lee. Fucking hell.
Yeah, a terrible hush descended on the living room, an awkward hush. Yeah. I could not look away. Yeah.
In them Terry tight shorts.
Yeah, old cut off denims, weren't they? All slit up the side. Fantastic.
John, you?
I think maybe he's Pete Clemenza in The Godfather.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Oh yes, that suit you as well. Like you'd really love to fucking
Yeah.
Teach Michael Corleone how to make spaghetti sauce, and then make sure there's a gun waiting for him in the toilet in the restaurant.
Oh, yeah.
You know, man for all seasons.
John, if you were 5'4", I'd have put you forward as Joe Pesci.
Yeah. But Hyman Roth he'd be a good character, wouldn't he? In Godfather 2. Hyman Roth was brilliant in that. Yeah.
He couldn't piss properly, though.
That's right. Yeah, I'd pay. What was his pay? Pay $5 million just to take a piss. Yeah.
Yeah.
And on that bombshell, and that note, I hope you've enjoyed this week's show as we have, and we're back next week again with more rubbish. But just some announcements before we go. Jack is going to be hosting some really cool podcasts coming up that'll be out during this autumn, replacing some sermons while some of us take breaks. It's going to include the likes of Johnny Dean, Kevin Blake,
Peter Powell.
Peter Powell,
Dave Lee Travis,
Harry Cornflake, all that, all your usual likes. There should be some really good ones coming up, and we're all very excited to be doing those. In a bit of a change up, really, just to obviously keep the sermons fresh, and also interview people that have got better opinions than us in racing.
Stop people getting too sick of us as well.
Absolutely. Quite. That as well. On that note, that's all from us. Bye for now.